I'd like to call the meeting to order.
I'm putting you on green.
Thanks.
We have no actions pertaining to executive session, and so we've reached the portion of the meeting where we have the video, district happenings. And Mrs. Heidecker is not in this evening, but I do know that she has left it with someone very responsible.
Okay, so tonight we will have, as Ms. Shearer said, we are without our communication specialist, but I'm filling in from back here, and we have the someone special brunch that's happened at J. Watson Bailey last week, and Mr. Film will roll the film.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Delahan, and this is Mrs. Santello. We teach 5th and 6th self-contained at J. Watson Bailey Middle School, and today we're having a invite someone special lunch for Valentine's Day. We started doing activities like this the last couple of years here at Bailey. Students are they just get really excited to have family come and see what they do here at school. They can really self-esteem, and it just brings everyone together. They had 4 poems to pick from, and they really took ownership of the poems. They had to write them, edit them, revise them, bring them to final copy, print them out, decorate them, and they really were proud of them because for some of them it's very difficult to do some of the higher level things. So to do something that they felt very comfortable with and very proud of. Such a great way and such a positive way to get parents in. And the kids feel really fun and special because they're the ones that are presenting the poems and awards to the parents. So usually it's the kids getting all the accolades, and here it's the parents and the family members that are being honored.
Mrs. Heidecker. We've now reached the portion of the meeting where we welcome public participation. I want to remind you to approach the podium and speak directly into the microphone so that our friends at home live streaming can hear you. And you're limited to 2 minutes. Mr. Perrin will let you know when you're approaching the 2 minutes, and it's not a conversation. Just want to address the board. So, is there anyone who would like to address the board at this point in time?
I'm Suzanne Jordan. I'm a retiree and a grandparent of a child who will be entering school. I'm here to speak in support of the idea of naming the new building or a portion of the new building in the high school complex for Wendell Shearer. I know that people spoke to that last time you met, and I just want to say that I had the good fortune of knowing Wendell for many years, and I think he would be a wonderful example because he was an inspired and inspiring teacher. And I think he also represents a group of people who were at the high school during his tenure that were extraordinary teachers like Butch Zulo and Howard Baywitz and Donna and Mary Leonard and Leslie Selich and all of his colleagues that I think would also support Wendell being chosen because he just exemplified something so unique and so extraordinary. And I would like to see that happen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. George. Anyone else? No? Okay, hearing no one else. We'll move on to the approval of minutes from January 20th and February 3rd.
Actually, we have to take off February 3rd because I did not get to that.
Oh, sorry, January 20th, please cross out February 3rd. We didn't receive them in packet. So, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, second. Are there any amendments, corrections to the minutes of January 20th? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from January 20th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we'll move along to superintendent's reports, and I will turn it over to Dr. Catalino.
I just have two things prior to handing over. We have a couple of presentations as part of my report that I'll kind of start from the bottom and work up as far as the agenda is concerned. 2016-17 school district budget. As you know, we've had many discussions. We're still working through the numbers and the process for that, but I did want to make the announcements on our forums, which I know that we had originally talked about the first forum being tomorrow night with snow day and many things that happened this week, and the Newburgh-Kingston basketball game being tomorrow night. I thought maybe we would have a low turnout, so we decided to make some changes. We were going to have our budget forums are going to be February 25th, March 10th, March 31st, and our April 6th board meeting will be a one-agenda board meeting, which will be a discussion of budget. The meetings will all be at 6 o'clock right here in this room.
Thank you.
I'm going to do the other part of my presentation from up here. Or my report. I wanted to stand up from behind to do this because I've done this several times with this board, and I think it's important that people realize the commitment and the work that our Board of Education members put in, and they do it all on their own time, no pay. They're here and they answer the emails and they talk to parents and they talk to people in the grocery store, and they also do something I think a lot of people don't know, and is they seek out and participate in professional development to make them better board members, to help them to make the better choices for people in our community and for our students. And I know I get to work with this board all the time, so I know I appreciate it, and I want everyone else here and the millions watching at home to understand exactly what our board does. I've been a superintendent for over 10 years, and I've never given out as many of these recognitions from the school board as I have with this school board. So it's a great help to me to have a board that is committed, and I think it's really an honor from the community to have board members who are so committed to doing the work, not just showing up here every other, but doing the work behind the scenes to learn more and do better. So I'd like to make some presentations. Our first presentation, this is from the New York State School Boards Association, is a presentation of Board Achievement Award, the Board Achievement Award, and that goes to Ms. Priscilla Lau. the next award is the School Board Excellence Award, and that goes to Mrs. Kathleen Collins. Another Board Excellence Award goes to Robin Jacobowitz. And the last, which is the highest honor given, the highest award given by the School Boards Association, goes to Mr. James Michael, and this is the Board Mastery Award, and it comes with one in-person or online free training as well as a binder. And if we look around, we have several people who have this binder, which means we have several people who have had the Board Excellence Award. So I want to congratulate you. I know the certificates and the binders and those things are kind of trinkets, but the truth of the matter is you are greatly appreciated. I know by the administration, by our teachers, and by our community for what you do. So I thank you. Okay, next on our agenda we have the extended activity period presentation, and Ms. Shapiro.
Hi everyone, I'm Geeta George Shapiro, and I was tasked with this wonderful project this year. I am the administrative intern you heard about. So we'll just begin. This project was definitely supported by the administrators at both Bailey and Miller Middle School, as well as the administrators here at Central. Let's take a step back. Why did we do this program? The activity period, as it was, the traditional program ended at 3:05, but not all buses were arriving at that time. Based on some research I did and a survey of 1,200 students who actually took the survey, a lot of them were waiting anywhere from 3:05 to 3:50, sometimes even longer. And as a result, we decided one of the solutions were we have these students here, let's do something with them. So we began, we solicited, we talked to teachers, and a lot of them came up with some wonderful ideas. You have reading activities, math enrichment and remedial opportunities, science club, history club, logic games, ENL support, and student academic support, which is very much a key need. And as you can see, it also serves Tenet 4 and Tenet 5, which is something that we would like to meet in our DISTI review. Next, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the process and the average number of kids, students who have been staying. We've only had 3 days, mainly because we've had 2 snow days in between, faculty meeting, and a nice holiday. So, that being said, the students currently sign up during lunch. And teachers are provided with the sign-up and attendance around 2:30, 3 o'clock. They get it by the start of the extended activity period. The activities begin at 3:10 promptly, and they end at 3:40 promptly. All buses are there, and they are dismissed. We've had great success. Today the buses rolled out at 3:46 at Bailey, which is great. First day, there are glitches. We will figure that out as time goes. It takes 21 days to develop a new habit and keep it. So we are soliciting young people. We are telling them what their concerns are, addressing them, and they are signing up and getting more comfortable staying. Currently, our averages are at 141 at Bailey and 102 at Miller. That does not include walkers and students who are being picked up. Finally, I'm going to leave you with a few images from today's extended activity period at Bailey, and I'll open the floor to any questions or comments. Thank you.
Dr. Jacobowitz, don't go away.
I love this initiative. I'm really excited about it. I think it's great. I have two boys at Bailey right now, and both of them always complained about that period where they had to wait and the bus and it was so loud. And this is great. So, and it's encouraging them to stay, which I think is really important. So, if a child, so there, in essence now there are kind of two activity periods. Is that correct? So you can sign up for one activity and then you can go to another one for the second half an hour. Is that how it works?
Yes and no. Some teachers have them sign up with them for the entire, from 2:25 all the way to 3:40. So it depends on who their teachers are, and some of them just might move over to the next classroom, stay with the same grade and get additional support. Some of them do like signing up with the tech ed or the logic grade games just to get a brain break. So it varies from student to student.
But if you sign, and the sign-ups are in the same place, so you sign up during lunch for both extended?
No, they sign up for one.
Okay.
Because a lot of them would stay with their home room teacher sometimes, or they have a little more freedom for that first activity period.
Mrs. Collins?
Hi. I too echo Dr. Jacobowitz's sentiments. I have a son at Bailey, and I just think it's great, and I thank you for getting behind it. But I also was noting there seemed to be a little bit of misunderstanding, on some of the social media, that, last year we were thinking about pursuing an extended day grant, and that this is somehow, that we've kind of put this in place. And I know that it's totally different, so I'm really glad that you are making that distinction today, that it's voluntary, correct? And it's in place of, waiting for a bus, et cetera. And I just love to see a little bit more, perhaps, communication to parents and students. I'm sure it'll be on the paw print online, et cetera, because I can imagine a lot of these young people would be really interested with some of these options that you've offered.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shaughnessy?
The teachers are volunteering for this, or they're being reimbursed? Or being
Yes.
paid?
Both, volunteering and reimbursed.
My question is, I hope, anyway, that program will be offered at the beginning of the year, next year?
That is the plan.
That's the plan? Okay. Good.
I have a question. Would you consider doing a video for parents for the website with Mrs. Heidecker so that they
Yes.
understand? Yes.
Yes. It wasn't our plan for this week, but
Excellent.
with the 3 days, we didn't get enough time to put it together, but we definitely plan on doing that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Slough?
I have a question on the average, the current average. You're just averaging the students that go on the bus?
Yes.
Because I know there's a lot of parent pickup at Bailey and at Miller.
Yes.
So the teachers are supposed to keep track of the attendance. So is there some way we can get,
We can get those numbers, yes. I was just tracking the students who are taking the bus only because really that was what spearheaded this entire
Right.
program. But yeah, today when I walked around the building, there were a lot of students who were staying with their homeroom teachers and getting additional help prior to going to extended activity. And then you have a pocket of students who get picked up at 3:05 as well.
yes, it's a mile long, but
Dr. Jacobowitz?
I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but how much is this initiative costing us?
Mr. Olson?
I'm actually not sure, so we could get that information.
At the last meeting, someone threw out a random number, and I'm not sure if that was accurate. I just want to make sure that we get the right one out
Will
there.
come up in the press.
Mrs. Lau?
I'm also curious, last time there was 44 teachers that were approved, 7 teachers this time, and like 13 TAs. So are they all being utilized? How is that working?
No. Well, yes and no. Some are used as substitutes. We have we have nurses on duty
Right.
in both schools. We have some teachers who,
There were 2 sub-teachers I had, and 1 sub-nurse.
yeah, and actually, I think between the 2 schools it kind of evens out.
So are there 22, for instance, 22 or more projects, or That they're
Well,
going
it
to?
varies. Some teachers are doing it twice a week, some are doing it 4 days a week, so it varies from each school. So we have different activities. Some teachers are doing it just Monday through Wednesday. So, yeah, the numbers do appear larger than there are activities at the moment.
It-
So we
it's-
average about 10 activities a day.
Yeah, it's like our home tutors or our home, those things, we have a lot of them, we have a lot of people in the pool to do different things, but not everyone's there every day.
But the ones that have been approved, are they being used?
Currently, yes. As far as I know, they are. They have an activity, and some are starting next week because their names got approved
They'll be approved tonight.
tonight, yeah.
Well, maybe. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
So just to add quickly to that, this was a time that students were sitting around waiting, doing nothing, really. And it was just a good opportunity for us to try to do a little bit more for our students. As Colin said, it's all voluntary. Our teachers have stepped up. I mean, if we have some extra time with our students in a structured environment where our teachers could do things with them, that's what we want. I think that's kind of what we strive for. So I really appreciate Ms. Shapiro's work, Joe Burby, Julie Linton, and Ms. Bonville for everything they did to put this together. It was just like, let's do it, and they went and they just did it. So, but Mr. Olson, from now to, so I keep calling this a pilot because we want to see if we really have the participation that we want to have. From now to June, what's the estimated cost of this?
About $80,000.
Yeah, so it's about half a year. So
For both schools.
right, for both schools.
But, so, I'm for the program, there's not a, but $80,000 compared to probably 10 people who were doing bus duty. It's a lot.
Oh, absolutely. But we're investing this into activities for our kids. I mean, it's things for the kids to do instead of sitting at the cafeteria tables doing nothing.
That's why we need to see
Or
it grow.
doing trouble.
Yeah.
That's why we need to see it grow.
Or not staying, right, or not staying at all, because they don't want to stay for us. They don't even stay for the first session because they don't want to wait around for the bus the second session.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Okay. Lastly, and I'm sorry I made them sit around and wait till last, but that's how it was. We have KSQ and BBL, and Mr. Clapper will probably join them for their second century report. So Robert Spramus and Scott Pilge.
I'm going to do the part that Mike usually does, so you'll hear me speak this evening. An update on where we stand with some of the ongoing projects that are in the planning stages and/or up at SCD, and then Robin will follow with an update on the construction progress. So for the Salzman and core academic buildings, the interior fit-up package, which is the second phase, we'll call it, of the Salzman addition, we did finally get the MEP comments, and it took, as you know, many, many, many months, but we did receive them back 2 Fridays ago. And we've since had some discussions with the reviewer up at SED, some questions he had that we've provided clarification from us and from the mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers. And then we have a list of some review comments that he provided to us, written form. And we'll be responding to those in the next couple of weeks. So we anticipate the schedule will maintain what we're showing here, that middle of March we'll have approval to move forward with that. Once we have the approval, we'll be able to go right out to bid. Behind the scenes, we're working with BBL to finalize the bidding packages, including all of the logistics, site logistics, and the bidding packages themselves, along with alternates and allowance kind of information. Regarding the main heating system package at Maine, if you recall, a strategy was to break this project into two components, one being an asbestos abatement part of the project, so that we can get early approval for that to do some pre-work this coming summer, and then the larger mechanical-related work the following summer. So right at the moment, where we are with that is we have split the package. Literally, we took apart the package and reconfigured it and resubmitted it to the State Education Department. They currently have that. The architectural reviewer has reviewed that package and has provided comments on both parts of that. The mechanical electric portion will be coming in the months ahead. But again, to keep the strategy, we're submitting an addendum addressing all of the architectural comments by the end of next week, and we should have the architectural approval, which means we can go out to bid with the abatement portion in the spring, and then we can get that work done this summer. So in anticipation of doing the mechanical work next summer. So that was the main abatement package that I was just talking about. Main renovations package, which is all of the updates, the upgrades, renovations, the removals, and things like that. We've completed a design development / construction document package, drawings and specifications, which we've handed over to BBL, and they're going through the task of putting costs to that project so that we can better understand moving forward if we need to make adjustments and how we do that, working with the district to accomplish our goals within the financial limits that we have. And then ongoing project team, this is a constant process that we go through, both on conference call as well as in-house meetings, usually here at the district with Tom Clapper at his office, to make sure that we're addressing all of the issues, both with the current construction projects that are ongoing, as well as making sure that we're planning properly for the upcoming projects that we were just speaking of.
Questions on this portion?
Mr. Schoenstein?
So how many heating systems will there be in the final campus?
Yeah.
And those,
Correct.
and the Salzman will handle all of the
Correct.
east and west and
Salzman proper. Currently, that's fed from the main boiler room,
okay.
and it just was more efficient to split it out into separate mechanical rooms instead of piping it underground.
Right. Currently, remember, or if you didn't know, you have a steam system, and we're moving away from that. General design today is doing a hot water system, and so we're getting away from the steam because typically it's more labor-intensive to maintain it over the course of time. There's more pieces and parts to it, where the hot water is a more simplified system in its piping systems. And also, it's typically more energy efficient, and that's one of the reasons that we went in that direction as well.
Is any of the new construction, any of the new facilities going to be air-conditioned?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole Salzman building will be air-conditioned.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so then moving on for the updates of what's happening right now on site. At the field house itself, we're continuing with the footings, the piers, and foundations that are in place at this point. We're doing some final trenching within the footprint of the building for some of the under-slab utilities, and working the, and getting the generators, et cetera, also set up on the east side. You'll see, if you drive by, you'll see the pad where the generator will be located for the field house itself. In looking ahead for the field house itself, the structural steel will start tomorrow. What they'll do is they'll start setting the columns on the lower level. Then they're going to bring in the precast plank, which will create the floor. Then they'll come back next week and they'll set more steel for the upper level, for the fitness edition level. And then, again, continuing to go up, we are anticipating to have the building with its steel and basic framing and roofing done early to mid-March. And then we'll go on, of course, to finalize the exterior and start the interior work. Some updated pictures of the girls and the women's and the men's finished locker rooms. And you can see here the foundation walls that are in place. You can see where some of the foundation walls where you see the wood that goes in there, that's the window walls and that type of thing that will fill in on the field house itself. Again, the rock excavation, other than a little bit that they had to take out this week for the trenching and the footprint itself, is done for the addition on the field house. We'll have a little bit more when we go to do some of the utility work and install catch basins on the east side of the field house. That'll be coming up when the weather gets a little bit better to do the exterior work. For the Salzman Academic Core, the early package envelope, the East Edition, we continue to finish up with the waterproofing structural steel erection is, for the East Wing continues. They've got the first 2 floors of the addition already up. They're starting to put in some of the decking. Starting next week, they'll start on floors 3 and 4 on the north end of the addition, followed, of course, by the south end. We continue to do the gas line trenching, the water line, which now goes to the field house. We changed the direction of where we were getting the new gas feed that will come up from West O'Reilly around the west side of the campus instead of coming up from Andrew Street, which was warranted by, well, Central Hudson really kind of chose where we were going to get our gas supply from, so we're now accommodating that by getting it all set up. As a look ahead again, the East Wing structural steel will continue to go up. The excavation for the West Addition is underway. They're currently hammering some rock. They've got 2 hammers going intermittently, back and forth, hopefully not too often, both at the same time. We expected to find quite a bit more rock in the area. We are finding some fractured rock and unsuitable soils there, so we're removing that as well, and we're getting to a point of bearing conditions for the 3-column or the 4-column lines for the West Addition. And as we go through, we're making the deciding and having the consultants come down and give us the elevations that are needed for the piers, the foundation walls, and that type of thing. But we need to make sure that it's on level, pretty much level rock or level bearing soil if we have to bring it up and make sure that it's adequate. And then, of course, the utility work on the west side of the campus will continue. We have to relocate the electrical. We have to move the transformers, switch gears, communication lines, Time Warner lines, and our switchover for that right now is during the spring break, tentatively set for March 22nd, the Tuesday of spring break, which means we'll shut down the campus, turn all the electrical over to the new feeds, and then re-energize the campus. As you can see, our structural steel is going up. It's really exciting to see it. And when you look at it and you see the size, keep in mind, if you're looking at the one on the upper left-hand side, that's only the first 2 floors. We have 2 more floors to go. So it'll be the entire length of that addition, an additional 2 stories high. This is our wonderful West Side Addition excavation. And again, you can see the hammer taking the rock out and the machines that are just removing the unsuitable soils. Some soils, we found pockets of sand. We found pretty much everything that we would maybe not have expected when you saw the trees that were there originally and the outcropping of rock as you drove by when it had been untouched. And then again, here's just another shot of the first 2 floors of the structural steel. decking, you can see the one layer of decking that's in place there. They'll continue to do that. What that does is create the floor space on the first and second floor, and then we'll go up. They'll continue down on the south end to put the decking on as well. You can see underneath the plastic down there, that's basically where they're doing some waterproofing on the foundation. And that's just standing close by, looking up toward MJM. Nice sunset. Thought it would be a really nice picture. Come on, I really tried to make it look really nice. Anyways, thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
Just a comment. It's so fun to watch the progression of it. I mean, I know Civil Service all the time, and I'll probably say it for years, but it's just great to see it come to fruition. It's really exciting.
As soon as the structural guys showed up, and it was interesting when they were getting their crane, and everybody was kind of getting it all in set up and everything, and the next thing you know, boom, we got a couple of floors of steel up, and it gives a whole different look, man. It's all energized and ready to go. We're really excited as well.
And I noticed the steel is also up on the field house, that frame.
The foundations are up. What you
Okay.
probably saw was the rebar and the reinforcing,
Okay.
but that's all been poured. The concrete has all been poured now. Tomorrow, we had originally figured it would be about 5 days to set steel. They're going to set steel in a day and a half for the first go-around of steel. It'll be 2 days to set the concrete plank, which creates the floor that fits between the columns and creates the floor. And then they'll come back, set another floor of steel, and then it'll be the roof that'll go on top of that. So within probably 4 to 6 weeks, you'll see the entire addition really come together, and then you'll be able to see the footprint from the outside of that as
At the
well.
field house.
At the field house.
I swear I was there today and I saw steel. You sure?
Well, they're putting steel tie columns right on the concrete.
Okay.
To support everything.
I know.
Anchor
It was
bolts.
still there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Has to go to-
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Absolutely right. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes. Yes.
Would you reaffirm my conclusion that we are on time and on budget so far?
We are on budget, and we are on time. Actually, the structural steel is taking, they've actually shortened the amount of time that we had anticipated them taking on the east addition. On the field house, although we did get behind a little bit on the schedule because of the south wall bracing and because of the rock removal, but we have a very, very solid recovery plan. And again, whereas we had set up 5 to 10 day durations for certain activities, they're being narrowed down to 2 to 5 day. So we're picking up that time again, and then we're getting right back on track. So early March, we'll be right back on track for the schedule.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now up to the consent agenda. Are there any resolutions that any of the trustees would like pulled from the consent agenda? Take a look.
B92.
B?
B92.
Thank you. No, I heard the 92. No.
And B89?
B89. Any others? Okay, not hearing any others, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of the consent agenda minus B92 and B89, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, I'm moving along. Why don't we take them in order? B89. First, I'll entertain a motion to accept B89.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Yes, Dr. Copeland.
I just wanted to have explanation a little about what this is before we vote on it?
Great. This is an outside consultant firm that we're bringing in to help us do our Medicaid reimbursement, go through that process. Again, we have had, as you all know, we've had several retirements here at central office, and in an effort to really consolidate our work and really be more efficient, we've been able to, through attrition, move the person who was in charge of doing this into a retirement position in another office and able to work with this group in order to do this. It's a significant savings to the district, and again, a cost avoidance in the future. And this is statewide. Many districts use MEG to do their Medicaid reimbursement. And again, this is about services that we provide for students that are covered by Medicaid. We need to bill. We need to do it correctly. And we've been doing it and doing a good job at it up to this point, but this was an opportunity for us to just really streamline and be more efficient.
And this is only through the end of this school year?
This is through the end of this school year, and then we will probably ask for a re-up for next year at the organizational meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about B89? All right, all those in favor of B89, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept B92.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Sean.
Do you have an explanation for this?
This one I will pass over to Mr. Olson for explanation.
We have when we have excess funds or funds in banks and such, we're always looking for the best way to invest the district's funds. And this is an investment vehicle that Ms. Woodard and I interviewed recently, the people from this fund. The Royal Bank of Canada is actually behind this, although it's called the New York Liquid Assets Fund. And right now, these people provide some very interesting investment opportunities to us that actually yield far more than some of the money that we have placed at the moment. Yields far in excess of that money. So this is a fund that's used by many districts in New York State and many actually in Ulster County and in Dutchess County. And I reached out to a number of them, and they were unanimous in their feeling that this is a pretty good fund. All the investments are in AAA rated securities, and all the collateralization will be in place just like it would be in the banks that we use. So this is there are other funds out there that are somewhat similar, but this has some very fine rates right now. Can't promise that those rates will continue, but it's an investment vehicle that we could use in the future, and we plan to use it right now because of the positive rates.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm disappointed that this resolution, also resolution about B89, are never mentioned at audit and finance meetings. Sometimes I think the audit and finance committee is not very useful.
I would only say about that is we interviewed these guys about a week ago. In fact, it was on a snow day. Beth and I interviewed them. So we thought that this was promising enough that we should get underway with it as quickly as possible. And obviously, if the board prefers that we not do it right now, but run it through an audit and finance committee first, then we can do that.
Any other questions or comments?
Can I just ask Mr. Olson or Ms. Woodard, can you tell me, you said there was an advantage to this. Can you, I know this doesn't guarantee rates into the future, but where are we right now? I mean, how much better off are we?
Well, I'll just give you a multiple. Right now, the rate that we're getting with our main bank the rate that we be offered with one of the vehicles that they have is about 7 times the rate that our local bank is paying right now. So it's really quite a good rate, and the fact that it's all AAA rated stuff is pretty good. That's what has attracted these other school districts and other municipalities to it. So it's a pretty promising rate. Again, as you say, it doesn't guarantee that it'll be that kind of difference in rate, in the future.
Can I just add that it acts just similarly to a bank account in that, and typically with our other bank accounts, they're just added on the reorganizational meeting as a bank that the district would use. So this is just serves as a regular bank, similarly to a regular bank account, and we can move money in and out of that account as we do our other accounts, depending on which offers the best rate. And this actually these rates just started increasing, so there was no competition before, so that's why the quick movement, and since the Fed just increased the interest rate last month, that's why this has suddenly become an attractive vehicle.
So, how much would be the transfer of these funds into this program, whatever, this initiative?
It's liquid funds, so if we have extra money that we're not using, we put it in that account overnight, and or for however long we need it till the next payroll. We can take money out the next payroll, just like we would with any of our other bank accounts and money markets. It's not that much different.
There's a minimum investment into this fund of $1 million, but then you can reduce that investment in $100,000 increments, and they prefer that you don't go under $500,000. So, but that's sort of the threshold of it.
Yeah, but we have a policy, I believe, James, that we have to be a board approval to transfer funds from.
No.
This isn't a budget transfer. This is our checking account, basically.
It's basically just another bank account.
Yeah, just another bank account option.
Which offers a better interest rate.
I mean, there have been times when school districts, probably like Kingston, would use CDs sometimes, and CDs aren't paying very much now. Maybe some of you know that through your personal lives. So, we look for the vehicles that are yielding the best and that are easiest to use, and this happens to be a very attractive one at the moment.
Mr. Michael, the policy you're talking about is transferring funds within codes in the budget. But this really is just another bank account that we can use. We're not transferring any money from inside budget codes.
And this type of fund does fall within our investment policy.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of B92, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. And Mrs. Hall, would you like to read the donations, or you would prefer to pass that on to somebody else? With B93.
B93, okay. No, thank you. Let's see, we have 3 this evening. The first one, B93, is to accept a donation on behalf of the Kingston High School Music Department, whereas Perry and Vicky Sarkeesian, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, would like to donate a trombone and case to Kingston City School District Music Department, and whereas Dr. Paul Padalino, Superintendent of Schools, has reviewed the proposed donation and recommends the acceptance of it. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Kingston City School District, New York, hereby accept with grateful appreciation the donation of a trombone and case from Perry and Vicky Sarkeesian.
Okay, since we've already
So we've voted on them, right?
Thank you
So
very much.
the next one, I guess, is B94. This is so funny. Accept a grant award for the Chambers Elementary School. Thank you. That's so great. Whereas the Chambers Elementary School is the recipient of a generous grant award from the Community Foundation of the Hudson Valley Field Trip Fund in the amount of $478, and whereas Dr. Paul J. Padalino, Superintendent of Schools, has reviewed the proposal and recommends acceptance of the grant award, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City School District of Kingston, New York, does hereby accept with grateful appreciation the award of $478 from the Community Foundation of the Hudson Valley Field Trip. And be it resolved that the Board of Education directs the treasurer to amend the 2015-2016 budget in the amount of $478. And the third donation this evening is B95, to accept a donation on behalf of the E.C. Meyer Elementary School. Whereas the Kingston City School District is the recipient of a generous donation from the E.C. Meyer PTA in the amount of $310, and whereas Dr. Paul J. Padalino, Superintendent, has reviewed the proposed donation and recommends the acceptance of the donation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City School District of Kingston, New York does hereby accept, with grateful appreciation, the donation of $310 from the E.C. Meyer PTA, and be it resolved that the Board directs the Treasurer to amend the 2015-2016 budget in the amount of $310.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for the donations. Okay, that marks the end of the consent agenda, and we're on to Board of Education. Last Saturday, well, not last Saturday, the Saturday before, February 6th, there was coffee and conversation held at Sione, and a present from the board, or Dr. Jacobowitz and Mr. Shaughnessy, and Dr. Palomino was here as well. So I'm going to call on them for a report on coffee and conversation on the 6th.
It was a good conversation. We had a few people here from the community, some teachers, a bunch of donuts. It was good. It was a nice conversation. It was engaging. We talked about data systems for teachers and principals. We talked about health and safety at KHS. Specifically, there was a long conversation about cockroaches and insect control with the new building. And then we spent a lot of time talking about diversity in after-school activities and school activities, which I thought was a really interesting and good conversation about how we can and what we can do to kind of increase diversity of participation of our students in our extracurricular activities. So it was good. I thought it was a good conversation.
Mr. Shaughnessy, anything to add?
I was late.
Dr. Palomino?
No, I think Dr. Jacobowitz did cover it, and Mr. Shaughnessy wasn't that late. 2 minutes. And there were donuts left over. But no, I thought it was a very good conversation, and it was a good opportunity. And I actually had the opportunity to speak to one of the people who was there this morning, and they were very happy and said, "Well, I should go to more of these." So I'm glad to hear that. So maybe we'll get more people who to come more frequently. So it was good, and I think maybe we'll start thinking about this Saturday morning and this location as one of our regular venues going forward.
Is this the donuts, or
Just like I had to break open the donut.
And Kate bought her babies back.
That was the highlight.
Yeah. Okay, great. Our next coffee and conversation will be held on the 29th at Barnes & Noble at 4:30, and I believe Priscilla and Danielle going to be the trustees 29th?
Yeah, 5:30.
5:30? Sorry.
Yep.
At Barnes & Noble? Yep, 5:30. Okay, it's up on the website. And that brings me to Mrs. Collins and policy.
All righty. Policy Committee has 2 first readings on the agenda for this evening, and they're related. The first one is 5460, child abuse in a domestic setting, and the second is 5470, child abuse in an educational setting. We've always had policies in our policy manual dealing with this sad subject of child abuse, and when we have to, being educators, and we were advised by our legal counsel they needed to be separated into 2 separate policies. One, when child abuse occurs in a domestic setting outside of the educational setting, obviously, and the other when it occurs in a school setting. And these are NYSBA recommended policies. They actually were drafted by our attorneys, and we focused really on some of the changes as far as mandated reporters. As you know, most of us in education have to report when we would see evidence of any kind of abuse happening, either in the home or in the educational setting. So those are both in the agenda packet this evening for our first readings. We discussed them at our policy committee meeting, put them forward. The second policy that's in the packet this evening is actually up for adoption, and that is policy 5420, student health services, which we've discussed. It was vetted by Mr. Verge and the medical staff. and I would like to move that forward for adoption this evening, if I might.
Okay. A second? Good. Any discussion about 5420, Student Health Services? All right, hearing no discussion. All those in favor of 5420 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
Just wrapping up, we did last meet on Friday, February 5th. We had Ms. Deborah Fitzgerald from the high school with us. We discussed the policies that we put forth this evening, and also we spent a good amount of time talking about the need for a proposed transgender or gender identification policy. The reason Ms. Fitzgerald was there was because it is a reality, you can imagine, in our schools today, not only in our high school, but even in some of our elementary schools. It was a very interesting conversation. And we decided that our next meeting, we always meet on the first Friday of the month, which is going to be Friday, March 4th. We're going to have our attorneys join us, and the bulk of that agenda will continue to look at that issue. While it is not necessarily required by law, it's really an issue of decision-making and assimilating people into the culture of the schools and awareness. So it's a very important topic that we feel we need to continue the discussion on with legal counsel as well. Thank you very much.
The Facilities Committee did not meet on the 10th because schools were closed, so we've rescheduled the next facilities meeting, for February 24th at 3:40 here in the boardroom. And anybody else to report out? Okay. All right, old business. Sir, Mr. Shaughnessy.
We'd like to report on the shooting range proposal for Prince Street. We passed a resolution, I believe it was in December, in opposition to that. There have been 2 planning board meetings since then, and after the last one, which was, I forget, February 8th, there's a city law that was enacted in 1984 which prohibits the discharge of firearms within city limits, except in cases of self-defense and official duties, mostly police and law enforcement personnel. And Mayor Noble announced after the last planning board meeting that he was in opposition to the proposal until such time that Common Council changed that law, and that the planning board has no authority to make a decision in contradiction to city law. So it would appear that is not going to happen anytime soon. But we'll see.
Thank you, Mr. Shaughnessy. Any other old business?
I have some
I'm
more.
sorry, Mr. Shaughnessy.
We have a report from Dr. Padalino on the interagency initiative on student social emotional health.
Sure. Not much has changed since we met last. We do have our 4 subcommittees, and we have one that's planning now to be ready to present. So we're going to have we have our next meeting of Ulster County Superintendents next Thursday, and I think at our board meeting that following Wednesday I should have more to report. But I think each individual subcommittee is working, on their own, and we'll report back out next week.
Okay.
I'd like to raise the issue again that Ms. Jordan raised at the podium about naming the buildings at KHS, and particularly naming one after Mr. Shearer. And I was just wondering if there's a policy that we have about that?
Yes, I know at the last meeting, Dr. Pantalino. Sorry. Excuse me. At the last meeting, Dr. Panaleo said we would look into policy. So, Ms. Guido, would you like to read
I'll read it because
policy?
I wrote all over it. So it's mine now. The Board of Education, with advice from the Superintendent of Schools, is solely responsible for the naming of school district facilities, grounds, or any parts thereof. All requests to name an entire building or a section of a particular building or its property must be formally approved by the board at a public meeting, and this is policy number 7500.
Thank you. Thank you. So that is the policy.
Okay, so the board does have the authority to name the buildings.
Yeah, according to policy.
So I'm not really sure how to proceed. I asked, at the last meeting, I was kind of asked that you think about what it would mean to you and your family, and I was wondering.
Yes,
kind of where
and
you
at
are.
the last meeting, I was a bit overcome. This is still very new, his death. But I spoke with all the children, and I spoke with his siblings, and they were all very much in favor of it. Mrs. Heidecker forwarded a lot of Facebook comments that came in after the first article that Mr. Temple wrote for the paper, and I know Mr. Cott with the Kingston Times had an article in the paper last week as well. I have not heard anything negative. In fact, people have come out very much in favor of it. I know we were in receipt of letters from the public, a couple of letters anyway, but I would like to abstain from a vote if you're going to make a motion, simply because the appearance of impropriety. So we don't have a motion on the floor, so.
Right.
Are you interested in making one?
Well, I am, but I think we need to be specific about what we want to name after, right? And so that was part of my question to you. Did you have something to say about that?
I was going to ask if it would be, if the board would like me to, the policy citizen consultation superintendent would like me to do the legwork and come back with and consult with the board prior and come back with a recommendation for the board for a resolution for the next meeting.
We might have two brand new buildings though, right? So if we're going to decide on the a building, so.
I think I'll have educated, informed ideas to give to the board.
I'm comfortable with that.
That'd be great.
If you would do that, that'd be wonderful.
And you would consult with the faculty, their opinions would be part of your
Yes.
report to us.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other old business? Mr. Shaughnessy.
The cyberbullying proposal that was put forward by Executive Hein. Yesterday at the Planning Committee meeting of the Mental Health Association in Ulster County, there was a presentation by Deputy County Executive Ken Cronell and Bob Fisher and Kristen Gumier, who are assistant county attorneys who handle juvenile cases in family court. And they discussed the reasons for the law and the impact that it would have on their work. And it was a very good presentation. They're eager to get input from the community before it hasn't been presented to the county legislature yet. And so I thought it might be of interest to the board to invite a presentation by them to the board so that we understand why they are proposing it and how they see working with the school districts on the issue. I think it's an opportunity for cooperation, more cooperation between the school districts and the county agencies that deal with these types of issues, and I think it's in line with the interagency initiative on social, emotional health of the students. I think it fits in very nicely.
I think just as I reported last, in the same vein, the superintendents have met with Deputy County Executive Cornell as well as the county executive 2 or 3 weeks ago. He met with all the Ulster County superintendents, and he did hear our concerns, so we felt good that he was listening. And I think, board being more informed couldn't do anything but good things. We also have established a protocol as far as working with the county executive and the county legislature as far as what's coming down the pipe. So our district superintendent, Dr. Corey, will be meeting with either Ken Cornell or the county executive once a month, just to kind of give us a little, keep us up to speed on what's going on and give us opportunity to hear and give feedback to the county executive. So I think all those are good avenues for communication. County, city, and school district, we need to work together to make things work and do the right things for our kids in our community.
Okay. Any other old business?
Well, I'd be in favor of that, of a presentation like that. I think that's a great idea. Old business, for the Ulster County School Boards Association, we have to nominate someone as a friend of education. So I don't know if we were going to talk about that at a retreat or...
Actually, I was going to bring it up with board member announcements, but fine now. We don't know when the retreat will be. That's another bit that we need to talk about under old business. But I think it might be useful to have a subcommittee decide on, because the board gets, for each district, gets to set the criteria for who they would like to consider, or the qualities they're looking for, the kind of involvement they're looking for to consider. So I don't know if anyone here is interested in being a subcommittee. They could make a recommendation to the board. We have to move relatively quickly. We need this done by the second meeting in March.
Right.
So, and I know the spring break is in the middle. So is there anyone interested in working on that?
If Dr. Jacobowitz wants, I don't think it would be that much time. I would work with you on that.
All right,
have an
I'll call
idea,
you.
or we can get it done.
Is that
Anybody else? Yeah.
Okay. I'd be happy to.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right, so we have Kathy, Robin, and Norm. Okay. And we'll make a recommendation to the board. Is it realistic to make a recommendation in 2 weeks?
Sure.
Or we could
better to
get
have
the
a
recommendation
deadline.
done by the 30th and notify them that's cutting it very close.
We can say, let's talk about it. And what about, when's our first meeting in March?
Second, and then we don't have another meeting till the 30th.
30th.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you think
that's
it's
fair.
realistic to meet sometime in the next?
We can probably talk
Okay.
within the next couple of weeks, even if we just do the
Okay,
weekend.
thank you. Thank you very much. And,
So another
Yes.
old business. The Legislative Action Committee of the Ulster County School Boards Association is going to selected an area or one topic that they want to lobby the legislators who represent Ulster County. I believe there are 8 of them. There are little portions of the county that are represented by, I think there's 4 senators, 4 state senators, and 4 assemblymen. I think they're all men, actually. 4 members of assembly who represent portions of Ulster County. What we want to lobby for is that the state increase, or the legislature increase state aid in a sufficient amount to cover the rollover budget of each school district in Ulster County. And I believe for Kingston, it was an additional $1.7 million in state aid. And we're still collecting the information we haven't gotten responses from all of the school districts yet, but that lobby day is February 29th, Monday, February 29th. And I plan to attend in the morning. there's a Sunday night program, but I won't go up for that.
Okay.
That's,
Okay, thank you. Also, under old business, we have to decide on another date for the board retreat, since our facilitator was ill, and even if she hadn't been, school was closed that day, everything was snowed out, so. We do have some suggested dates, and there's a little bit of flexibility.
Tuesday, March 7th, or Wednesday, the 8th, the week of March 13th to the 17th, and then most of April, except for the last week.
Wednesday is March 9th?
Monday, March 7th.
Just I'm looking at the calendar, it says Wednesday's the 9th.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's 8th.
8th is a Tuesday.
Yep, the 8th.
It's a Tuesday.
All right, I'm looking at February.
I kind of like to
What,
keep
I'm
Wednesdays since
confused.
we have Wednesdays slated for board meetings, but that's
Yes,
just
I
me
agree
being
with it.
selfish, and that I always keep Wednesdays open.
so our next board meeting is March
Second.
March 2nd.
Mhm.
So that's Tuesday, March 8th, or Wednesday, March 9th? Is that March 9th is available?
No.
Tuesday's not.
Yes,
Is it
it's
the
the
ninth?
8th or the 9th, yeah. Which is a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Okay.
I vote for Wednesday, March 9th.
Tuesday's not good for me.
Tuesday's not good?
I say Wednesday, March 9th for my vote.
March 9th is a Thursday.
All right.
That's fine. Wednesday's the next
The
one.
9th?
Keep Wednesdays open.
Yeah.
The
It
9th?
wouldn't work for me, but I might be able to move my work obligation if possible. But
Okay.
works for everybody else.
16th, I can't do it. So, we can move it to
Why
April.
can't we do the 16th?
And it's a spring break.
And if we don't do the 16th, then we're headed into April, is that?
We're headed into April, and all of April is free except for the last week. She's booked for the last week. So we have a meeting, a one-item agenda on April 6th. We could do it on the 13th if you want to stick with Wednesdays. April 13th, does that work? And that's after spring break. Does that work for everybody? April 13th?
It's a Wednesday, yes.
Yes?
I think so.
Okay, April 13th it is, so we'll notify them tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, any other old business before we move on to new business? Old business?
Back to April 13th, it's coffee and conversation that night.
Is it that night?
Yeah.
Oh,
Martha.
No.
Yeah.
I have April 12th, Tuesday, April 12th,
Oh,
at
okay.
New Progressive.
That you and I do, right? Yeah,
And
it's
then
the 12th.
Thursday, April 14th, Uptown Coffee, that's in the morning.
Good, that's good.
Okay.
So 13th is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. April 13th it is. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry,
At 5 o'clock for
Dinner.
dinner.
so we have two coffee and conversation that week?
Yeah, but one's in the morning and one's in the evening.
In the evening at a church.
Yes.
At a church.
Priscilla and I are on that one, I believe, in Reverend Childs, yeah.
One of the new venues this year.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
newly renovated church, right? Didn't the New Progressive, they just
It's been
reopened after
progressive.
extensive renovation?
New business. Mr. Shaughnessy.
There was an article in the paper, I think Monday, that the New Paltz Board of Education was considering a proposal last evening to make available Narcan in the schools, at least, I don't know if just in the high school, or Narcan is the antidote for opioid overdose that has been used successfully. Was introduced about 18 months ago. I think most law enforcement officials in the county
are trained in it. Has there been any discussion of making that available in perhaps the high school and middle schools?
I would usually defer to Mr. Burge. He does handle our school nurses, so I will get that information from him, and I'll report back to the board.
My thinking is that, I hope it would never have to be used, but I think it would be better to have it available and never use it than not have it available and have a need for it. And I think it would sort of be Pollyannish to assume that there's never going to be any opioid overdose in one of our middle schools or high school. Hopefully it would never happen in an elementary school, but who knows?
Any other new business?
Well, I was going to raise the 2020, but are you about to raise it?
No, go ahead. It's 2020. You should.
Okay. The 2020 initiative, which is a kind of collaboration between Ulster County School Boards Association and the Benjamin Center at SUNY New Paltz, is having its annual reconvening on March 10th. And we sent letters of invitation to all the board presidents. They didn't make it into our packet somehow. No, but Nora did.
Oh.
And Dr. Padalino did. But you know what, Camille, I'm sorry, I should have sent it to you too. The convening is on March 10th, and the agenda will focus on, it will be an update on the regional transportation study that was done last year. We'll look at career readiness, which is a paper that we're about to release. But the bulk of the conversation will be about sourcing local food and bringing more local foods into our cafeterias. And we've pulled together a great panel, and there's a lot of energy and a lot of excitement around this. And it'll be really fun and exciting. So we're allowed to bring between 6 and 8 participants from each district, and the idea is to keep it small so we can have a productive conversation. And so we're asking each board to think of who they would like to attend, a combination of board members, superintendents, district administrators, food service people, business people, community members, teachers, so that we can have a group available at the session to be able to really think concretely about how we might work together toward this end. So I have an agenda that I can pass around. It's just a draft. But we should think about who we would like to send to this. And if you,
I have that. I can pass it around. I can forward it to everybody.
Yeah, that would be great.
And it's half a day, right?
It's a half a day. It's at March 10th, beginning at 8:30, ending at 1:30.
I apologize.
Well, I should have been clearer about that in the email.
And that's 6 to 8 people from all of our different
From our district.
constituents, right?
Yeah.
Right, but each
Right.
district is bringing 6 to 8 people. So, and
Where is it going to be?
it's going to be at SUNY New Paltz. So Jim and I are on the 2020 committee, so we don't count in the 8. So
Oh, okay.
more people than that.
I remember that
Well, you
from last
count.
time.
We
Not
count,
yet.
but not in that way. But it'll be it's going to be a great discussion. We found a great model that's been used in other school districts, and I think it'll be really exciting.
Okay. And I'll forward this tomorrow.
So, Nora, if you forward it to everyone, and if people are interested, then I guess just let Nora know. But I think, it'd be great to have you, Dr. Padalino, if you're interested, and Alan and any other school administrators.
Maybe Mr. Corelli.
Maybe Mr. Corelli. So, Dr. Padalino, will you talk with people about
Yes.
that and decide? Thank you.
Thank you. Board member announcements.
I attended the Kingston High School today. They had a Black History program. I thought it went well. They did something real nice in that all the students couldn't fit into the auditorium, of course, so they streamed it. And I thought that was great.
Nice.
So, good job.
That was great. Very nice. Yeah, that was rescheduled, what, twice?
Yeah.
Because of the weather. Yeah. The only 2 days that we've had with snow in the winter where school was closed, those were the days for the assembly. Any other board member announcements? Okay. We've reached the second opportunity for public participation. If there's anyone who would like to address the board at this point, please approach the microphone. We have 2 minutes, and Mr. Perna will notify you when you're approaching that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Dexter, and I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I just wanted to speak about what Mr. Shaughnessy said, because on Monday I had an opportunity to attend yet another funeral for a former student. Her death, a young student, not high school, she was out of school, an accidental overdose, an overdose of prescribed medication. That's the second one this year. And these people are very young, very, very young. And it would be naive of us to think that that isn't trickled down or started at the high school level. In fact, we know it has. So I would like to support and encourage us to think about having that medication available. It needs to be used very quickly to do what it needs to do, and I think it would be wise for us to be proactive rather than I'll be attending yet another funeral. It is a problem, and it is increasing, and that's definitely a good idea, so thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dexter. Anyone else who would like to address the board? All right. As we have no need of a second executive session, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
You have to go to the Windows thing, and then...
Start off cold in this room.
It did. It got warm.
We're going to give it to you. That's a flapper's fault.